There were dodgy ones, there were good ones, there was all sorts. And there are still people out there peddling their wares. And on the line now is Robert Campbell-Lloyd, who runs basically an information website called Pedlars.Info. And he's on the line now. Good afternoon to you, Robert.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Robert. Thank you for inviting me along.
That's all right. So basically your website is to give information for those about the legality and otherwise of how to go about street trading, isn't it, really?
Yes. What happened was that I established myself as a peddler.
Right.
And then problems come towards you, and you deal with those problems as best you can. And when that escalated to the level of government and politicians and MPs getting involved,
wow.
Then we became quite active in legislative amendments, and hence comes Pedlars.Info that simply chronologically exposed all of those conversations and communications that were going on. So it's not a sales and marketing front for peddlery,
no.
But nonetheless, it is a chronology of how things have been evolving.
What did you sell? What were your wares, Robert?
I'm a landscape architect.
Yep.
Last recession back in the early 90s, hard times, took kids out of school, did homeschooling, kinesthetic education for kids' hand dexterity. Mums and dads, grannies loved the product, and we thought, hang on, we've got a product here, let's hit the streets. At that time, somebody gave me a copy of what's called the Pedlars Act, which is a current act that goes all the way back through Hawkers Acts and Pedlars Acts right back to Magna Carta, which essentially is the act that enables one to work on the streets.
Right.
So I built a box that fitted around my proportion, went through the underground quite easily, and we popped up in James Street to fly a kite. World's smallest kite was the product that we manufactured and invented, and we had tremendous success with people on the street. But within a couple of years, we also had tremendous problems with regulators who wanted to try and stop that busy activity that we were involved in.
So what is the basic law now in terms of being able to go out on the street and flog your wares, basically?
As a national act, the Pedlars Act enables any person who's above 17, who's lived somewhere for 30 days previous to application, can sell any goods, any place, anyhow, at any time throughout the United Kingdom. That's what the law says, and it's specifically different from street trading legislation because this is civil law. It's not the criminal law which has regulation and control. This is the civil law of enabling people to have the right to go out and work on the streets. So it's a very precious piece of English law that we almost lost last year, but it's still there, and it still provides for us an ability to argue our case should we ever be drawn before the police, the courts, the regulators, and so on.
And would you say there are many people who are genuine street traders, hawkers and peddlers at the moment?
Well, there are many who are genuine street traders, but we must differentiate
that's
now.
Different between, but ambulatory street traders.
Okay. It used to also have that other derogatory-sounding word called itinerant.
Right.
But ambulant trading is simply somebody who peddles their wares on foot, pedis the foot, the Latin. So you walk your wares, you carry your wares, you don't have what that previous speaker was talking about, you don't have a horse and a cart.
Right.
That was the Hawkers Act, but interestingly, hawker is also described within the Pedlars Act as one and the same. So you need to have a pedestrian means that is not equivalent to a street trader's means of trading, like a fixed stall on the street. You must be mobile.
And if you are, at least sort of according to the law, you can go about your business.
You can go about your business for 5 minutes a day, just for the weekends, on a Monday or Tuesday, whenever you like, wherever you like, and however you like. But things will come towards you, which are a challenge.
And how many people would you say are there many people who are out there doing this, sort of making a living this way?
Sure. The government did some research about 7 years ago through Durham University, and their researchers came up with a figure of about 4,000, but they couldn't ever extract the data from each of the 88 police jurisdictions to see how many people had applied for a peddler's certificate in those jurisdictions. So it's a random figure that needs a bit more of substance put together, but we would reckon there's got to be 5,000 currently working as genuine peddlers.
And I guess it must be seasonal as well. This time of the year, there's going to be more people out there, aren't there?
Absolutely, through this Christmas build-up. But then what happens is that it goes into the January sales, and people on the streets get caught up in people wanting to go out and buy something in the January sales. Then comes along Valentine's Day, then comes along Easter, and so on. The whole year can be an active year for a peddler. But there are many who work the summer and go down under for the summer, and then come back up to the northern hemisphere for the summer. So it's up to you. You can work when you want, how you want, for as long as you want.
Do we still? Does a bicycle count? Because I'm thinking about the onion sellers who used to have bicycles.
Yes. The question then, before the regulators, is: does a bicycle constitute a pedestrian means of operating?
What do you reckon, Robert?
Absolutely yes. As does a wheelchair, a small trolley, as does anything that is a small scale when compared with the large scale of a static street trader with blockage of the highway and so on. If you don't block the highway, then your means are pedestrian means, and you're entitled to a peddler's certificate as compared to a license.
When you were peddling your kites, did you have any cries or shouts, or were you a silent peddler?
Funny you should mention that, because a peddler has the right to sell and expose for sale. So basically, we became entertainers and performers, and engaged in our kite flying, and with your peripheral view, you see who might be interested, so you turn your body towards them, but you never sight them, because they get terribly embarrassed. They think you're forcing them to buy something. So essentially, we're passive entertainers and performers, just doing what we do. And somebody might say, I'd like one of those, mate. So you let him dip into the box, he chooses a colour, off he goes for a couple of quid later, and everybody's happy.
Are you still doing it? Are you still peddling your wares, Robert?
I'm still doing it. I live on the west coast of Ireland, so you may have sunny weather over there, but the bad weather's coming your way, I can assure you.
Believe me, we've got it already.
I travel pretty much around the world now. Wherever there's a big event with huge footfall, my family is enormous, and so we all decide where we're going to be at any point of the year, and off we go. Sometimes it's a duck and dive situation because regulators don't understand, and it's just easier to work the day if you duck and dive. Other times we work on certificates, peddlers' certificates. Other times we actually pay for a street stall so that the regulators don't have to bother us anymore.
Give us the information on the information on the website, if you see what I mean.
Sure. Pedlars.Info is the information portal that a couple of peddlers set up when all these legal changes started to occur a couple of years ago. And I must say, through Pedlars.Info and its engagement with Parliament and with government, we stopped government action last year to repeal the Pedlars Act. That is, to remove the right for a person to trade on the streets forever, because you would never get that act back into statute. But we stopped them essentially on the basis that this is a civil activity, and it's a civil liberty that can only be altered by the Home Office Justice Department. And local council, a local authority with private bills, simply cannot interfere with civil liberties.
Robert?
So we won on that count, but there's still a major battle ahead, so we look forward to participating.
Robert Campbell-Lloyd, thank you very, very much, sir. Fascinating stuff. And that's what we're talking about today. It's peddlers and hawkers and street sellers of all kinds.